Hello, you all. Another day, and I just wanted to share some thoughts. I am reading this book, How to Be an Adult by David Richo. But Mr. David Richo. This has been a fabulous read for me. I know I may sound like I read a ton, but I actually often just have some real favorites that I read often. And sometimes when I read a book, I'll read it and then I just donate it to someone else to read. But this one I am marking up, and that is a sign that it will be staying on my shelf for a while. And it's really proving amazingly valuable to me at this moment in time. In it, he talks about a lot of things, and really it's a handbook on psychological and spiritual integration. It talks about mourning, which is really, really important. And it's really important because if we do not properly mourn what occurs, or what he talks about is that these patterns these unresolved patterns keep on coming up. And we just keep on experiencing these same things over and over again. And really, part of that is a signal that we haven't really loved or owned or held the kind of pain that we need to, and actually had the mourning process occur completely surrounding that. And of course, we can go through the process in many different ways, and then we step into new understandings and revisit it often. So, like he says in Everyone, this is a walk, this is a path. But for me, what I'm really finding beautiful about this is that it really comes from a place of our biggest gift to ourselves is us being present with ourselves, loving and learning how to do that for ourselves. And he talks about different steps in doing that. So I wanted to mention a few things along the way that I've read, which is really beautiful. So he talks about the process of letting go, where we may reminisce about feelings we've had, pain, abandonment. We need to fully acknowledge, experiencing, and expressing the feelings that occurred at the time of betrayal. So when we do this, oftentimes we'll do this in the present, like now I feel this enragement, but oftentimes the enlargement of the feelings that are happening actually go back and back and back and back and back. And as we can really own that and go back and back and back and back, we can be there at that point that occurred of abandonment, of loss, and whatever else we were feeling. So it's important to be able to express those feelings. But when we take our grievances, another thing is we'll step into maybe the feeling betrayed, abandoned, rejection, disappointment. That is one step beyond a feeling. It is taking a feeling and then us interpreting for our ego what that means. So, someone leaving out the door, and when we're not seeing them, we interpret that as abandonment, right? The feeling was maybe fear of aloneness, fear of nothingness, even perhaps, fear of dying, even. But the sense of abandonment is the ego trying to make sense of something on top of that. So when it comes to that point, it's good to be acknowledging, and holding and being okay with, I acknowledge and I sense and I feel that I felt that I was being abandoned. I interpreted that as me being abandoned, right, at that moment, right? And now the grievance, you can acknowledge it, but when you go through those grievances, being able to step into it not with blame. Everything is a process of owning it yourself and acknowledging yourself, not blaming. Because as we blame, what we're doing is we're taking actually the power away from ourselves for our own state, for our own sense of being. And it continues that cycle of like helplessness, of feeling helplessness, and that I am not the one in charge. That's why we go look for someone else to fix it. That's why someone else in the present is supposed to be making up for what happened in the past. But as an adult, we get to step beyond these things. So this is something I'm going to readjust myself more comfortably. Something that was really cool to read, to kind of get and see in his book. Now, like he mentions, like dropping the expectation that others fulfill this need for me now, and me taking care of this need for myself now as abundantly as I possibly can. So, what does that mean? So that means I'm always after someone listening to me. Like my mom didn't listen to me, and I felt unacknowledged and that I wasn't worth anything. So what does that mean for me now? Maybe that means that I get to be really present for myself when I have ideas. That I get to express them to myself in the biggest, most full way that I possibly can. That might be what me showing up for myself in the most abundant way now is. Perhaps it's that I get to start writing down my ideas and just simply acknowledging them and acknowledging the gift that I have in the insight that I can give into my own life. So these are some ways. There might be many ways. You can get creative. What's great is when we start letting go of things, or things start letting go and dissipating, we can get creative in how we love ourselves. We can get creative in how we show up for ourselves. It can be really fun. One way might be like, I'm going to take myself out on a date. I'm going to write down all the great things that I was thinking about today, and like I really value that. I'm going to write down what I think is great, and I'm going to post it as if I was Dr. Doolittle. Because there might be a fear behind it of like, well, my name isn't important or whatever, like whatever. But having fun with it and helping ourselves to step out beyond our pain and fear is a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. Allowing ourselves to express ourselves slowly but surely, but being there by our side while we do that could be another way that we show up for ourselves abundantly. So for me, as I look through this and I'm reading, I think, wow, we have the opportunity to be our own greatest gift. Our own greatest gift in our own process of becoming an adult, of perhaps healing, of us finding true nourishment and love and care in our lives. So that's what I'm getting so far. I've gone a long way. I talked about assertiveness and what assertiveness really is. And it's really great. So I actually do recommend How to Be an Adult. Enjoy.